Hello, everyone. Welcome to another video here with CYN Counseling Center. My name is Jordan Devink. I'm the Director of Donor Relations here for CYN Counseling Center. And with me, I have Caitlin McBain. Caitlin, why don't you introduce yourself to everyone today?
Hello, thank you, Jordan. My name is Caitlin, and I am a therapist at CYN. I work in the Safe Youth program in Waukegan schools primarily, and I also work with intact families as well through DCFS. And I'm excited to be talking about teens and dating today.
Great. Yes. So this month is Teen Dating Domestic Violence Awareness and Prevention Month, and we try to make a big impact in this area throughout social media through the month of February. And so if you've seen, we've been running what's called our Talk to Teens campaign, which is strictly as it is. Talk to teens, have conversations with them, parents, guardians, heroes in the teens' lives. Make sure you're just having those conversations. And I wanted to bring Caitlin in today to share a little bit about some of what she's seeing in her clients and how CYN is making an impact in the lives of teens here in Lake County. Go ahead, Caitlin, share with us what you have seen.
So with working with teenagers, dating is inevitable to come up because dating is such a crucial part of that teen development, and it's something that teens really care a lot about. So often as adults, we're like, oh, it's just a crush. We tend to kind of minimize their relationships, but for teens, this is such an important part of their day-to-day life. And so in my work, I spent a lot of time talking about dating, issues in relationships, anything from like a new crush of the day to longer term, year-long, 2-year-long relationships. So a client comes to mind who I've been working with who kind of has been a bit of a serial dater in her time. She's kind of always having a new boyfriend, a new girlfriend. She's kind of lost a bit of herself in dating throughout the year that I've been working with her. And one of the things that I've worked with her a lot is how can you find your own identity outside of a relationship? Who is she as a core person? What does she believe in? What does she stand in? Where does she find her self-confidence? Does she find her confidence in what a boy says to her, or does she find her confidence for what she knows in herself? And so when I've been working with her, I've seen a lot of growth in terms of being confident and being able to say no in relationships and being able to be single for a while, because just as dating is important, just as being single is important, so that you're not always feeling the pressure to be dating. So I think she's a great example of how it's important to talk about dating, because for the majority of the time, she's hid her relationships with her parents. And she's felt in counseling that she can address it a bit more. And I've worked with her to encourage that conversation with her parents. And she has begun to talk to her parents more about dating and what's going on in her life. And that's bonded their relationship. She was always held back because she felt like her parents would be mad or her parents would be upset. So she felt like she needed to hide it. So I think that can be just something good for parents and those that work with teens to keep in mind, that it's important to have these conversations, even if we're a little uncomfortable, even if we think that next week it's going to be a new person in their life. Just there's so much going on in these kids' lives and dating that we can work with them on.
Yeah, that's so powerful. And I think it really plays well into our mission here at CYN of preserving families and protecting children. And so I'm happy to see the family unit brought into that. And I know we do that a lot with everything we do, which is just so exciting and makes such a big impact. So this month, we've been really working hard to put out tips from our therapists and from mental health professionals, specifically for guardians, for parents, for heroes in teens' lives, about just how to have healthy conversations, how to note different things in your teen's life, pay attention to what they're seeing on TV maybe, or in magazines or books or whatever, and how to relate healthy reality to them. Can you talk a little bit about what would be helpful for parents or guardians when it comes to healthy physical and emotional boundaries for teens in relationships?
Yes, absolutely. And the thing that comes to mind for me is this big word of boundaries, which is a word in the counseling world we like to throw around a lot, but it's so important, which is why we're always talking about it. So these are limits or rules that we set for ourselves in relationships. And so that can kind of be boiled down to like, can I say no when I want to say no? Or do I feel pressured into doing things that I don't want to do? If it's the middle of the night and someone calls me and I have to go pick them up and I have work early in the morning. Can you say no? Do you feel like you have that agency within yourself? And so with teenagers, I think in the family unit, it's so important to be able to not only teach this to your children, but to model it. If you're in a coupled relationship, do you model that between each other and how you say no to each other in a respectful, appropriate way? Do you communicate through that? So not only is it important to be teaching this, but it's also important to be showing it through your own actions. And so examples of this could be showing your kid that they can say no in a dating relationship by saying like, I'm not comfortable doing this. I'm not comfortable going here with these people. I'm not comfortable doing this sexually. I'm drawing the line here. Apologies for my dog opening the blind behind me. Please don't do that. Please don't touch me like that. Please don't say that to me. And so being able to say no is so powerful, because if we can't learn how to say no, then we're easily taken advantage of and doing things that we're not comfortable with, and that can cause physical harm, emotional harm, harm in the family, just harm all around. And so another key component with this is building up your child's confidence. A confident child, a confident teen is way more likely to be able to say no and not be in a situation that's harmful to them. They're going to choose partners and dating people that are better fits for them if they are confident in themselves and they feel like they deserve the best match out there for them. And teaching them compromise. Do you show what it's like to compromise in your home? Something as simple as like, where are we going to eat for dinner? Do you compromise with that? Is it one person in the family, their say always wins? These are ways that you can examine, like, are we really modeling this in our family? As well as teaching your child that it's okay to plan what you want to say and to take a time out to figure out what you believe and what you think. Teens are often pressured into something that they don't want to do because it feels like I have to make a decision right now. So if you show them and teach them and remind them that it may feel like there's a lot of urgency, but it doesn't have to be urgent. You can say like, hey, can I have 10 minutes to think about this before I say yes or no? Because sometimes you just need that time to clarify, like, what do I want to do in this situation? And so in terms of boundaries, you can have physical boundaries, intellectual boundaries. What kind of thoughts, what type of things do you want to be around? What kind of media do you want to consume? You can have emotional boundaries. When you say that to me, that's hurtful. I don't appreciate you using that language with me. You can have sexual boundaries. So that can be obviously more sexual, or physical could even be like, hey, I need some space. I don't need you sitting right next to me. I don't need your arms around me right now. So it's not necessarily sexual, but it's physical touch as well. You can have material. No, I need to be using my computer right now. No, you can't have my phone. Those are your objects. You have that agency to choose, as well as time. Teens tend to jump into relationships going head first, and they want to spend all their time talking, texting, hanging out. So showing them and teaching them that, like, you don't have to hang out with them 24/7. And so as parents, you can also set these boundaries with your teens too. If you have a boundary that says you're not, as a parent, you don't want them hanging out after 10 p.m., then that's a boundary that you can set with them. And so you can be confident in your answer to your child. You can be respectful to your child. You don't need to yell at them. You don't need to scream at them. Because the more you're open in your communication and the more you explain why you may have a boundary with your kid, try to avoid the because I said so kind of mentality, because teenagers in general hate being told what to do. So if you tell them why that it's a boundary, they're way more likely to respect it. I love boundaries.
Yeah, no, this is all such great stuff. And I think boundaries are so healthy and so important. And so it's great to see this being implemented at CYN. I wanted to share a couple things, and I just wanted to get your feedback on one final thought here too. So one of the studies I had seen this last month said that 26% of women and 15% of men experience intimate partner violence before 18. And I thought that was just really striking that, you mentioned all those different levels of boundaries, but this was specific to intimacy. And so what an important thing in a relationship, and so what a violation, unfortunately, when that's taken advantage of for both men and women. So I thought that was just really interesting. And then another thing that struck me as you were talking, and as we talked about Talk to Teens, and this is our second year doing this campaign, is that it's when we think about teens, or maybe when I think about teens, I think about high school, but I realize that there are a lot of teenage folks in college. And we know from studies that college campus violence is pretty frequent and prevalent for men and women. And so I didn't know if you had anything specific for college campus individuals, or if a lot of this probably still applies for them as well.
Yes, absolutely. And I think especially if you're a parent and your child hasn't dated to your knowledge in high school, going to college, whether it's remote, whether it's on campus, COVID kind of throws a wrench in those things. That's a prime time for teens to start exploring dating. And the pressure that I was talking about is amped up at that point. So teens feel very pressured that they have to catch up to whatever they think the expectation is, whether that's sexually, whether that's in terms of dating partners. There's a lot of pressure on college age teens to do what everyone else is doing in their mind. And so I also wanted to add a caveat as well that teens in the LGBT community are also higher rates of experiencing domestic violence,
Yes,
dating,
yes.
as well as discrimination in general. And so if your child is in the LGBT community, or potentially your child is in the LGBT community and you're not aware that your child is in the LGBT community, that could just be an added factor too, that it's so important to offer that open communication with your child, because they may be experiencing safety issues and not know where to turn. They may fear rejectment from others. And so being open to that conversation and being direct with them in the same way too. Don't be scared to ask, is this person harming you?
Mm-hmm.
Is this person pressuring you to do things you don't want to do? If we don't ask it directly, we may never get the answer.
Yeah, gosh, that's so important. I think all those demographics are so important to highlight, because it's not just teens in high school. It's not just teens in college. It's not just straight men and women. It's not just gay men and women. It's all of it together that makes up this important month where we provide prevention and awareness to help stop the violence in the dating cycle for teens. Fantastic. Do you have any final thoughts for our viewers today? I know that we're going to continue to push out materials over the next week, probably with tips for parents and guardians, but I know that they really enjoy hearing from our therapists as well.
Yeah. One last thing I did want to add, because you may be thinking like, well, how do I know if my teen is experiencing dating violence? Because the way that abuse works is oftentimes it makes you want to hide that abuse. It isolates you from others. And so it can be hard to spot those signs. So if you've noticed that your teen has lost interest in activities that they've once enjoyed, maybe, like I said, they're more isolated from other friends. They used to hang out with this best friend all the time, but now they're only with this partner. Maybe their partner really is demanding, and you've thought like, wow, they're really pushy. That could be a sign that if that's happening in front of you, what's happening behind closed doors? If your teen is being really protective of their phone, or if the teen's partner is being really protective of the teen's phone, if you find your child feeling really guilty about whether you have to go to the store with your kid and they feel really guilty that they're not going to be able to be with their partner, that may be a sign. Is there control dynamics in this relationship that are inappropriate? Especially teens tend to minimize, or people that are being abused in general tend to minimize their partner's behavior. Oh, he didn't really yell at me, or she didn't really hit me. It wasn't that bad. It's water under the bridge. If you're hearing things like that, that could be a strong sign as well. And if your teen is acting out, a lot of times if teens are acting out, it's a cry for help and wanting a parent to engage with them, to spend more time with them, and to really see them. So I wanted to give those warning signs so that, if something is feeling off, reach out to the resources that I know Jordan has provided and will continue to provide, including hotlines. CYN offers services for teens, of course.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Our hotline crisis number did go out this last week on our social media, and I'll make sure that that is spotlighted somewhere in this video as well. Thank you very much, Caitlin, for joining me today. I know that our viewers really enjoy hearing directly from our therapists about the impact that they're having in the community. And thank you to you guys for watching as well. So it is Teen Domestic Dating Violence Awareness Month. This February, we're going to continue to push out some stuff. I think near the end of the month, we're going to talk more specifically about bullying and the effects that that has on teens. But we will continue to support you in this area as well. If you're interested in learning more, you can go to our website at www.cyngrayslake.org. And there you can find other videos that we've done on this topic with our therapists. I'll put this one up there as well. You can also make a donation if you'd like to on behalf of a teen or a hero in your life. Somebody who's made an impact in your life and helped you in this circle. So thank you so much. And we are going to sign off. We will be back every month with a video like this, though, of course. Thank you again, Caitlin.
Thank you so much.